thing on? What's up, guys? This is Josh, and today we're going to talk about fear. Specifically, fear of financial failure, relational failure, locational failure, for lack of a better term, and fear of losing control. Let's start out with financial fear. Making the plunge into the world of digital entrepreneurship was daunting, to say the least. I would paint a picture of the absolute worst case scenario. I thought, okay, I'll start this business, but if it fails, I won't be able to provide for my family. We won't be able to travel the world. We won't be able to do all these amazing things that we want to do, and we could go bankrupt or get into some serious debt that we never come out of. So this is how I overcame my fear of financial failure. I came to grips with the true reality of the situation. So I had painted this picture of this false reality of what I thought could possibly happen. When I thought it through logically and I said, okay, this is the actual worst case scenario, then I realized that the risks really weren't all that bad. I mean, okay, so maybe we'd go into just a little bit of debt. Maybe I would be a failure, and maybe some people would think less of me because of my failures. Oh well. You know, even when I did fail, so one of my first business failures was as a writer, which is my passion, my joy, it's my craft. I love it. But I failed at it initially, multiple times actually. But in the process, I had some of the best experiences of my life. During that time, we traveled to Ecuador. We traveled South America. We climbed the mountains in Quito, hiked through the tropical jungle in Mindo. We even got to experience a live volcano erupting in, Baños. And it was amazing. I've got pictures of that actually. It was really, really cool. I wish I got video of it. But most importantly, I realized that we can do this and the rewards are well worth the risk. So yeah, that's how I overcame my fear of financial failure. And to be honest with you, I mean, it took a while to get past the fear of business failure because it's not fun emotionally, psychologically. It F's with your mind a little bit. And you can start believing that you're just this big, massive failure, and you suck at everything you do. You're not smart enough. You're not diligent enough. You're not a good enough worker. You don't have the right mentors or the right connections. And when these beliefs get injected into your mind, you gotta be really careful. You gotta nip that stuff. You gotta nip it right at the bud, because it will ruin you completely if you let it. So but in the end, the risks again were far outweighed by the rewards. Even when I failed, I had some of the best times of my life with my beautiful wife, Lacey, hiking through the jungles, going on canoe trips with the tribes in, I can't remember. It was somewhere near Mindo. Kodakachi? I don't know if that's it or not, but one way or the other, just amazing things. Like the failure itself, combined with those experiences, was well worth it. So I started realizing that even if I failed, I would have, if I failed constantly, I would still have an amazing life, because these experiences are so very worth it. But then I started thinking about, well, what if I don't fail? What if I actually make enough money to sustain our efforts as wanderers, travelers, being able to go all over the world, experiencing these amazing cultures and nature, the beautiful white sand beaches of Honduras, the jungles of Africa, Bedouin desert in Egypt, and all these different things that really truly are the joy of my life. I realized the risks that I was taking was more than worth it. All right, let's talk a little bit about fear of losing your friends and family, so relational fear, which is this is something that I wish I had a little bit more of an understanding about before I set out to be a digital nomad. I wish that I had thought it through more. And I've got to say that this is actually something I didn't have any fear in, but it would have been a good thing for me to have at least a little bit of fear to make me think about it. Because what happened for me was we started traveling the world, and we were away for long periods of time, and I actually ended up losing a lot of my friends. And fortunately, and this is the beauty of a strong family, there's something about being a part of a family that is just amazing, because I can go away, for years and years at a time without hardly any communication, and then come back, and they're there embracing me with open arms, because they love me. It's that kind of unconditional love that is just amazing to have. And if any of my family is watching this, thank you so much, because it's gotten me through some pretty tough times, not having any friends after coming back from my travels. And so to get back to the subject, yes, fear of losing your friends and family, at least your friends, is definitely a reality. And again, you gotta ask yourself the question: what really is the worst thing that could happen? The worst case scenario, realistically, what is it? Your answer will probably be something along the lines of, well, I could lose all of my friends. And I gotta be completely real with you here. If you become a digital nomad and you don't have any friends to begin with that are digital nomads as well, that are travelers and know what to expect, you will lose friends. Looking back on it, what I would have done is I would have communicated better. The result of my travels was I did end up losing my friends, my close friends, pretty much all of them, but not all of them. I was fortunate enough to have 2 close friends who do the same thing, basically. I was really and truly blessed to have these friends, because I could go anywhere in the world, whenever I want, travel for as long as I want, with virtually no communication whatsoever, and come back and I still have these close friends. Like, we pick up right where we left off. So pretty much the main thing I want to say about fear of losing friends and family is that it's a very legit fear. You may actually lose friends in the process, and it can be a very, very lonely time in your life making the transition. That's one of the best things that you can do before you start traveling, before you make the dive, is to find like-minded friends. Know that there are people out there that'll give you the community that you really desperately need. Other digital nomads who have the same mindset and not only understand what you're going through, but will gladly join you in your journeys, both metaphorically and literally sometimes. All right, so let's talk a little bit about locational fear. And what that is, I just couldn't come up with a better word for that. Locational fear, I'm just talking about being afraid of your destination, where you're traveling to, or where you're relocating to. This is another very understandable fear, but it's one obviously you're going to have to overcome. And the best way to do that is by doing research and getting experience. So for me now, I hardly even get butterflies when I'm about to go to a new place, other than, just being excited about the experience, because I've been successful in that area so many times, and I haven't been mugged, I haven't been shot, I haven't been, stabbed in the ribs right when I get off the plane, because I did the research ahead of time and I knew the crime rate in these areas. I knew what to expect. And it's so easy to do this, right? You just whip out your laptop, hop on Google, and ask a question. And then again, you can ask yourself the question of what's the worst thing that can happen? And it may not be the best thing to ask yourself if you're the kind of a hypochondriac sort of individual who thinks that the very worst is going to happen to him all the time. What would you call it? The Murphy's Law sort of individual. But if you're able to think about it rationally, definitely ask that question. Yeah, ask yourself, what's the worst case scenario? Look at that worst case scenario, and you could do one of 2 things. You can either not go to that place to begin with and choose another destination, because there's so many amazing places in the world that I know you'd love to experience. Or 2, you can just be smart about it. Right? So Quito Quito is kind of a dangerous city, but we really wanted to go there to see the architecture, see the basilica, which is amazing, absolutely beautiful. To climb, what is it? I think Pinchincha. Cotocachi? No, Pinchincha. Oh gosh, I forget. There's a mountain in Quito that's really, really beautiful. So we asked a bunch of questions. On the internet, you can use forums. Ask people who've been there before. You'll be overwhelmed by the amount of information that you get. Good, solid advice to avoid getting yourself in trouble. That's what I got on the locational fear side of things. Okay, this is the last one. Fear of losing control.